Our invocation for us.
Dear Lord, thank you for giving us this opportunity to come together to share a meal and to talk about Rotary and things that we can do. Thanks for this wonderful city that we have and the state and this weather right now for a while. Look forward to whatever changes. Thank you for all of these things that you give us, this food that you provide for us for our nourishment, to help us with our health and bodies. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Richard. I want to start off each meeting with a philosophy, a comment from one of the famous philosophers that ever lived and ever played baseball. Who would that be?
Yogi.
That would be Yogi. And Yogi's got plenty for us to quote for the whole year, but I'd like you to tell me what this quote is all about. What did he mean when he said this? It hasn't happened in a World Series before, and it won't happen again. What was he referring to?
Perfect game.
Perfect game. Whose was it?
Don Larson.
Don Larson. What was the year?
56.
6. All right.
Good run.
Wow.
Impressive.
What did we give Ron for that? I mean, is applause enough?
How about we give him a makeup?
I think you're going to give him a makeup.
It doesn't make up, please. It doesn't make
You're going to get a little larger dessert because Yvonne has done dessert for us again, and it looks delicious back there. Thank you so much.
You forgot it was a World Series game.
No,
It was a World Series game. We'll start with our Sergeant at Arms, Ben.
Well, okay, thank you, President Larry. Appreciate it. We have a few guests today. Stacy Crick, would you please announce your guests?
Absolutely. I'll start with ladies first. Debbie O'Connell. I'm very proud to have 2 guests today. Debbie I met while I was working at Tryon. Her husband is Colin, the VP, who was my boss's boss. My immediate boss, Tony Quick, was also going to be today, but he couldn't make it, so he'll be here next week. But in regards to Debbie, when we first met, we really inspired each other. She was talking about volunteering a lot, and I was going to school and taking classes. So she inspired me to do more volunteer work, and I inspired her to get back to school, and she has recently graduated, and I have not, but so congratulations and welcome to Debbie. And also David Welchel. He's Carolina Trace's golf course architect. He's the man making it happen and keeping things on schedule, and his creativity and everything that's bringing to Trace and Trace's future. We really owe a lot to him. I'm also very proud to call him a friend.
As Lake continues to improve and it changes a lot, David has agreed to speak to us sometime later this summer when he comes back. He's in the area at least once a month, looking at what's been done. And for those of you who have been to Trace recently, if you drive down Traceway and you look at number 8, that hole is going to be gorgeous with 6 tees. And they put 1 tee really close to the water, right next to the green. That's my tee. David did that this week. But we look forward to the program. And several things that we just discussed earlier that we might be able to do about what's happening there. Because this is going to be a premier golf club course in North Carolina and in the East Coast. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Hey, you're the president. I gotta watch what I'm saying here. I'm on tape, aren't I? That can be used against me. Okay, we have some out-of-town guests today. Let's recognize them. We have John and Nancy Pulowski. They are from Syracuse, New York. And John, I believe, are you with the Rotary Club too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, both of them are from the Greater Utica Sunrise Rotary Club. Let's give them a big round of applause.
I would have just moved here, that would
We're
be
trying to
great.
get the
We're all for that.
Come on, John.
You good school teachers, John, we can find you a place. We've got connections in the school system. Okay, thank you so much. I don't see any other guests today.
Today's program is really trying to give you some idea of what I think we can do for this coming year. We touched on it last week, but we want to get into it in some detail this week. And really what it's all about, as far as I'm concerned, is serving our local community and taking care of the international community where we can. And we haven't been able to do as much as we used to because we haven't had the budgets that we had once one time had. But we're getting back. And Jeff just, please, can you give a round of applause to Jeff for taking care of us in the Treasury for the last several years. Jeff and Nolan had a transfer ceremony on Tuesday, I guess. But from a financial condition, we're in the best shape that we have been in a long time. We still owe for some scholarships that have to be taken care of, and that will come out of the Treasury. But we haven't had this kind of comfort level where we're going to be able to look at some things that happened throughout the year that we might need to respond to, where some organization might need 250 or 500 or maybe even 1,000. We've got that kind of flexibility at this point, but we need to do more. If you're going to have an impact in the community, you really need to be able to provide more than a couple $100s to organizations. It helps to sustain them, sure, but it doesn't really do as much as we need to do. So we've got our work cut out for us, but I think by the same token, we can have an awful lot of fun doing it. And so we talk about fun, and David Morris will get into this next week. He wasn't able to be with us this week to talk about the barbecue. The thought was, we got to work together, and we got to get the whole club out to participate, and we need to do it early in this Rotary year. So September 12th, mark it on your calendars, because we want as many of us together dressed in our Rotary t-shirts, and if you don't have a shirt, we're going to get shirts. We're going to need to order a lot more because Stacy's bringing a lot more people into this club, along with everybody else who's going to be working on membership. So we're going to begin with a joint activity where we work together. It's not a matter of just opening up your wallet and saying, okay, I'll take care of Rotary. It's something we're going to be working together to make it happen. And then there are other things that we're going to be doing throughout the course of the year that will also add some bottom line to us. And Jeff, could you talk a little bit about a suggested modification of the raffle that we have been doing for years and years and years that the board will have to consider over the next couple of weeks?
Well, one of the major issues I think that we've had throughout the raffle years is that it's $50 a ticket, and it's tough to sell. So, Kevin Kirkman came up with a good idea of changing the ticket price to $20 and selling more tickets. So what we thought about doing is selling 1,000 tickets at $20 a piece, which would net us $20,000. Now, for prizes, we can do that completely different. What we'll do is we'll do 52 raffles throughout the year. So essentially, every week we'll do a raffle and cut a check for X amount, let's just say $100. Then on top of that, we were talking about grand prize and also second prize, kind of like what we do now, where it can be anywhere from $5,000 to $2,500. The numbers haven't been hammered out officially, but I think what the best part about it is that this is something where we can sell the tickets over time. It doesn't have to be, we have this set deadline to sell every single one of the tickets. These tickets can be sold over 2-3 months because the sooner they buy the tickets, the more entries into each raffle that they have.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't begin it until the third quarter, so instead of 52 weeks, we drop a quarter out of there. And we'll need to get used to the idea, and so we need to debate and talk about how to get it done. But there's no cost. There's no dinners involved. I mean, that's always been a little bit of a problem for us, and it takes work to do. So Kevin will be back, I believe, next week, and we'll ask him to talk a little bit more about this. But please think about it. Jeff had agreed to just give us the opening idea, and then the board and the club really needs to try to embrace this over the next few weeks to decide whether we can get this going starting in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Public image, you know, we had Lane Jones give us a program on public image, and some of the things that we found out that we needed to address. Our website, for example, and John, could you give us an update on what we're doing with the website?
Sure. The current website we have is a decent website. It doesn't have a lot of content and a lot of pages, but it's also not tablet and mobile friendly. And I think most of you might know that older websites, anything that's greater than 2 or 3 years old, you can pull up on your personal computer and the format of it is just fine. But when you get down to surfing the net on your smartphone, it doesn't shrink down. Well, the new site from the gentleman that also does, and not nationally, not internationally, has done our database maintenance so that we can readily search and look at membership and look at contact info for us within our club. He also sells websites, and he gives a discount to clubs who already do the database maintenance, which we do. So he's very reasonable in his cost. And what President Larry was alluding to is that when Terry videos the meeting, we can upload that directly to the site, and we could also integrate it with YouTube so that it'll be easier to do a makeup, and we can do a lot more to the website and drive people, including us members obviously, to the website and use it more like what David has done with our Facebook page so that we can actually utilize it. Right now we're just not utilizing our website a whole lot. And in 2015 that might sound kind of strange because a lot goes onto the web. Well, we can communicate with each other and we can keep up with each other, and if we miss a meeting but we didn't know about the Greensboro Grasshopper baseball game or some other reference, or the river float coming up with Chad, we can go to the website and get information about that with clickable links and content and that kind of thing. So we're right now, I've already looked at the sites and haven't amended and done the shift yet, but in the coming weeks we'll be doing that. Any questions?
Yeah.
It's just more seamless, better communication. Terry?
For the video purpose, if you don't mind, if we have special guests coming in, we have our special guests sit at the head of one of the tables, then that way the camera
Makes
can
sense.
just catch everybody. And then I know this is gonna put a little work on people. If you got something you wanna brag on or whatever, just ask you, just kinda like come to the front.
Right.
Then that way.
That does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanna give you 15 minutes of fortune and fame.
What if our guests are shy?
Okay, Debbie and David, come on up here, come on. Up here, David. Debbie, you have to come sit up the front, because right now we don't have that on swivel.
Actually, Larry looks lonely right now. And that's really at the heart of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I have Debbie O'Connell with us today. We have met through when I used to work at Tryon, and we've both just inspired each other over 3 or 4 years now. And she's done a lot of volunteer work, has 2 beautiful grown sons, and we inspired each other with volunteering and versus school, and she recently graduated, and I just thought she would be absolutely perfect addition to the Rotary. And Mr. David Welchel, our golf course architect at Carolina Trace, making it all happen and really creating a very bright future for Carolina Trace and the entire city of Sanford.
And we're gonna get you as a Rotarian in Arizona, is it?
Arkansas.
Arkansas? Oh, yeah, we've got plenty of
And you can do makeup sessions.
Please sit down.
So Ed had asked the website, and I don't want to get it wrong. I believe it's Jonesboro-Rotary club.com or something like that. I'm sorry, I've got it saved so I don't have to type it in every single time I go to it. But I'll find that out for you. I apologize.
Yeah, and
I don't have that.
probably by the end of the month, we should be up and running, be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
explain to everybody. Okay, good. And then what we're intending to do for this next month is anybody who missed this meeting is going to get an email saying, you can do a makeup by just going to this YouTube link and doing the 4-way test with a reply saying, I've seen this program. And it should help our attendance tremendously. And while we're on the media and the image, David, could you explain what we've done with Facebook? That we now are.
Well, it's just it's an organizational page that if you are on Facebook, you just go to Jonesboro Rotary Club and like the page, and then you'll get notifications. You know, we download. Chad just downloaded your picture with your Cleveland Indians.
I think it's
Sure,
true.
I'm on the site.
It'll be a way to you can stay updated. You know, at the minimum weekly. And a lot of times, if stuff comes in the middle of the week, I might go to it and post something.
Great, thank you. We're also, from a project standpoint, going to emphasize the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army has been a major part of our community for a long time. But under Chris Kelly's leadership, it's really getting even better. But Chris needs help. In order for him to be able to take care of the community, and so much depends on what happens around the bell ringing time around Christmas. And so we thought, because of the connections at Rotary, not just ours, but the Sanford Rotary as well, and maybe some other service clubs, could help him with assignments to cover the kettle around the community. So, and when Chris comes back from vacation, he's going to explain more about that. But this doesn't cost us any money. What it does is our connections with the community and allow us and the community to support the Salvation Army. And he's delighted. I mean, you know, Chris from probably the end of mid-October to December, hardly slept. I mean, he worked his tail off trying to make sure that those kettles were covered. It shouldn't be just one individual that's doing that. It should be the community that's doing that, and we're going to help him do that. Another thing that we're intending to do is make a bigger white elephant. We've talked about how much fun our white elephant sale has been to us. And in that half-hour period, we raised $1,000 to take care of T-shirts for our kids for Character Plus. And we'll talk about how we're going to do this. We could either do it in the evening, or we could just do an extended lunch program for this, and really promote it and ask each Rotarian to bring a friend with money. And try to raise another $1,000 during that lunch period, or an extended lunch period. So look forward to that. But the way we've done it before, we've kind of been quiet about the announcement of when it's going to be. Like 2 weeks ahead of time, we say bring your stuff in. It really doesn't allow us enough time to go into the closet or into the attic or the garage and find things that we really like to pawn off on somebody else, but make it get good stuff. And so this, we want to emphasize this year, or when we do it beginning of next year, probably the end of January, to do even more to raise some money. Triple Crown, we're going to be a Triple Crown club again. And David, do you want to explain to everybody what Triple Crown means?
Well, you're 100% Paul Harris club. Everybody in the club will be a Paul Harris fellow, which means that $1,000 will be posted in your name with Rotary International. And the way we can do that, some members who've been in here for quite a while have what they call Rotary points. Basically, it's $1 is 1 point. But we have collective membership has a lot more points available than we have Rotarians who are not Paul Harris
Yeah, we should,
members.
we
So
should
we can-
easily be able to.
We can transfer those over, and even our new members, like Terry, just join. But, we can go ahead and make Terry a Paul Harris fellow, rather than you having to wait, 5 years and get that built up. So we'll do that.
We're already sustaining.
Yeah, 100, well, yeah, where you're paying your dues regularly keeps you 100%, keeps us 100% sustaining club. And the third part is a benefactor, which basically you say in your will that, upon your passing, you want to leave $1,000 to Rotary. But when those three things are taken care of, you become a Triple Crown club. I think there's only 14 Triple Crown clubs in the world, I think.
Most of them are in our
Most of them are in our district.
And the benefactor is so much easier these days. It used to be a codicil that we had to have a lot of help legally, and Robert did help us. But the form now is just a letter, and it doesn't really obligate anybody to anything except saying, this is what I would like to have happen, assuming my beneficiaries or those that, in my family agree with it. So it's a lot easier, and we'll explain a little bit more about that too. I wanted to also talk about Polio Plus. This, everybody in Rotary knows, this goes back to 1985 when we put a major effort into eliminating polio. And it's this close. All of the things that you see in the Rotarian magazine, all these pictures it's this close. And we want to make sure that we're part of closing that gap even more. The intention is by 2018 it's gone. But it's going to take millions of dollars to get that last little bit done. Our district raised $150,000 this last year, double the amount that we were requested to do for Polio Plus. That's amazing for us to be able to do that. Our club did our part with, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was $1,000, but I think we contributed something else just before the recent 1,000. So going into this next year, what I would like to do, and some of you have already seen the notes, I want to get us closer together. I want us to know one another even more. And I want us to help Polio Plus, and I want us to help be a gift to the world. So I thought of, let's do a 10-4. Oh, what does that mean? That's 10-4 for the opportunity to give $10 to Polio Plus. Every one of our members is going to be asked to get up and talk for 4 minutes on 6 W's. What are those W's? They are why, where, who, when, what, and wow. So that means we need to have you explain how those 6 W's fit. Why did you join Rotary? I joined because my dad had been a Rotarian for years. I should have joined in my 20s because I knew what the club did. But I also felt, gosh, I'm my own person. I want to do it under my own schedule. So I waited a few more years than I should have, but I joined in 1979. And I joined because the group in Pennsylvania that I joined was about 100 members, were really active in the community. I'd seen that when I moved back from California to Pennsylvania and saw what was going on. How come I haven't been in this group before this? And one of the best things that ever happened to me was to get involved with Rotary. Where were you born? I was born in Buffalo. Went to school in the Kenmore system, and went to Denison for and met my wife Grace, which is another blessing in my life, that I was able to find her, and went on to careers in working in the food industry. I was in the Air Force first and then worked in the food industry. Finished my career with Axel Nobel, a multinational company. But I've been in sales, production, distribution, purchasing. I've had the gamut. Finished in a staff position in safety, which I wasn't necessarily happy to get, because when the president of the company came to me and said, I want you to do this, I said, wait a minute, that means a staff job. I'm a line guy and I want your job. And he said, no, you got to do this for us, because we just lost 5 people in the space of 18 months. We were in the mining industry, so we got to do something to change this. And our Dutch management are saying, if you don't, you're all out, because if you don't take care of your people, you don't take care of your business, period. So I said, okay, sounds like a decent challenge. So I went on to do safety and health for the chemical business, the salt business here in the States, and then did it internationally for about 5 years, or 7 years actually, working out of the Netherlands. A fantastic experience, and from a staff guy's job, and Ron knows what I'm talking about, because he's had both the line and staff, and very involved in safety. When you can save lives and make a difference, that's more important than being CEO. The important thing is to have some feeling that you've really done something. And you don't do it alone. I mean, because what I would do is go to my business unit managers and say, if you aren't the first guy in the class that I'm going to bring to your unit, then I'm not coming, because I teach you first and you teach your people. And that's the way you do safety. And we were very, very successful with that. Then I went and came here on kind of a semi-retirement, doing consulting work for my company, and then got too involved in volunteering and quit. I said, you know, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to be volunteering in the Sanford area. Who in my family, and who are the heroes? Two different things, but for me, they're the same thing. My mother was one who kept saying, you can do anything you want. My father was, you're good, but you got to get better. And so the combination of those two really, really affected me as a kid. And of course, then my wife, who has been somebody that's been a role model for me for years, because she knows how to take care of people, and I just follow her around, and we do it together. And then my kids, my oldest son, who we're going to go visit in the middle of July, lives in LA, and he's the senior vice president of engineering design for Little Tikes Toys. And he's more like me. He's a very regimented person, very scheduled, knows exactly what he wants to do, what the plan is for the following month, and he's been really successful as a designer. My other son, who's another one of my heroes, went through, well, he's like Grace. He's off the wall intelligent, and he's done an awful lot of stuff in his life, but one of the things that he did was save some lives in 9/11. He was working on Wall Street and went in, got a call from Lehman Brothers and the guys that were on the top floor, and said, you've got to come help with your background. And he's had some really interesting backgrounds. He said, you've got to come help us. So he went and was involved in all that. When the buildings came down, well, he tried to get up, but he realized he couldn't. Then he said, I've got to get people out of here. So he was taking people out and doing his part to get them out, and telling the people that, look, I've got some engineering. These buildings aren't going to stand. You're going to have to get out. So as he was taking people out, the first building came down. He was blown against the hotel, and woke up a couple hours later just covered in dust. And unfortunately, he's facing, after 15 or 16 years of this, what happens when all that dust gets in your lungs. But he's a very positive kid, and he's going to do what he can to take care of it. So that's why one of the reasons the whole family's getting together in July. He's coming down from Calgary and going to be with his brother in LA. What don't you know about me? One of the things you don't know is that in Rotary, you do things to help others. Well, in our club, we decided we'd help the Lions because they needed some culture. And so we put on Swan Lake. We all dressed up in our tutus and we practiced for 2 months. I was one of the best ballerinas you ever saw. When we came bouncing out to this huge audience with all these lions in there, I mean, the guys went crazy. What the heck is going on here? And then we had to do command performances of this in a lot of different venues throughout Pennsylvania. But we were damn good. And I just want you to know that. And my last thing, and I'm taking a little bit too long for this, but the last thing is the wow moment. And the wow moment for me was because my dad had been a professional athlete and a baseball player, and he knew a lot of the folks that were playing ball in 51. He took me to the Subway Crosstown World Series with the Giants and the Yankees. And he knew everybody. And he had gone to school with Mel Allen, who was the announcer for the Yankees. And we sat right behind home plate. Lorraine Day sat right next to me. She was the wife of Leo DeRocher. She basically took care of me because my father was gone. He was with all his baseball buddies for many of the games. But during that time, I got to say hi to Mickey Mantle and to Willie Mays, their first years. And that was a wow. Well, fast forward to 1985, and Rotary had a conference in the Hershey Resort, and I needed a speaker because I was conference chair. I got in touch with Mickey Mantle because he was promoting things. He was working for Claridge Hotels, and I said, if you can be around to be our featured speaker, you got free golf for this long weekend and whatever you want. So Mickey came. He did not remember me. But it was a real wow time for me because if any of you had ever seen him play, he was an amazing athlete. And if he hadn't hurt his leg, he would have been even better. And if he had grown up in a time when you learn how to condition yourself, because he had so much hidden talent that he could have been even better. But anyway, we had a marvelous meeting, and it was a wild time for me. So at the end of these 4 minutes, that just turned into probably 10. But
Was that 20 bucks?
I'm present. You get your chance to pick what M&M you want. You get the regular, you get the peanut or the peanut butter. I'm a fan of peanut butter, so that's going in my pocket. I hope that we get the chance to hear from all 45 members and some of our honorary folks that we really want, honorary members who haven't had a chance to attend as much as we'd like, to do this and get a real feel for what we're all about. Because if you read the Rotarian about our president, Ronnie, I think that's what he calls himself, is it Robbie. He said, and Lane Jones said the same thing, Rotary is people, is not all the different things that we do, it's the people that do them. And if we get a chance to know one another even better, I think this club will be amazing and grow. And so I know Tracy's looking at 55. I wouldn't be surprised if we exceed that. and we have a lot of people who are interested in joining us. Please, if you've made contact with others that you think will be good Rotarians, now is the time. Because early in the year, if we can bring our club membership up to 55, we can do things throughout the year that we want to do for this community. Okay, that's my pitch for today. I think we're going to have a terrific year. Can we do the 50-50 at this point and then find out who's going to be a four-way test?
I have a quick announcement I forgot to say earlier. If you want to go on the kayaking tour on the 18th, we have 15 signed up right now. We can run 25. So today's will be the last day. You can just sign here today, or you can call me today. I'm gonna start scheduling other folks that day. We got $33 in the pot today. And the winner, half of that is $273.
Right here, 273.
Oh, look at that.
Something close to that.
How does that
Yeah, I'll
happen?
split it with you later.
Our member moments for July. Rupert is next week, Howard the following week, Siobhan the following week, and Richard on the 30th.
Is that different than the 10-4?
Yeah, well, 10-4, yeah. Member moments.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, can we have the four-way test?
Yes, sir. Everybody, recite with me, the four-way test of things you think they are due. First,
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank David, Debbie for coming, David for coming, John and Nancy.
Thank
Come
you.
back. Thanks, everybody.